The county council, I guess we'll call this budget night number 2. And we'll go ahead and just jump right into it after our recess. And the next, the first item on our agenda for tonight is carry services. Oh, you want to do roll call?
Yeah.
Okay, we probably should. You can come on up anyway, though, Jim. It's all right. Yeah, roll call, please.
Okay,
Yep.
Frankel.
Here.
Cadell.
Here.
Hicks.
Here.
Pitts.
Here.
Lemming.
Here.
McCourt.
Here.
Scott.
Here. All right, everybody came back for night 2. Super. All right, Mr. Allenbaugh.
Yeah. Good evening. My name is Jim Alba. I'm the president and CEO for Carry Services. The first thing I always like to do is just say thank you to the county council for your time to read and hear and learn about the impact that Carry Services is making. Carry Services, our mission is turning abilities into opportunities, and you've been on that journey with us. And our vision is probably a more prominent discussion. Our vision is to create a world where all people are empowered and equally valued in the community. So that means in this great county. So thank you for being on that journey. I will say, since last we met, Carry Services, we've opened up a job training kitchen called the Kitchen Company at our main campus. Some of you have been there and been able to see the great training that's happening. And we're doing some partnerships even with Grand Regional Career Center. We also opened up 5 new affordable housing duplexes to increase the opportunities for people that maybe have never been able to live in quality housing to be able to do that and provide support as they might need. Since the last time we met, we also opened up a job training cafe and retail. And so if you've not visited the Ampersand on Spencer Avenue where Midwest Coffee used to be, that's now being used as a training resource for people with disabilities to train in cafe and retail. Just today, we convened and facilitated a community conversation with NDOT officials that came to Grant County after we had initiated a transportation study. I know I shared with Commissioner President Kitts, so we could share transportation gaps in this county and some possible solutions. And there was some really great discussion that I think this county will be able to see some opportunities for public transportation beyond just the city limits. So my request that I sent in my letter that I'm coming to you tonight, my original request was assuming a 3% growth quotient. However, I'm aware now that there was a growth quotient of 4% that was provided at a state level. And so tonight I'm coming before you with our appropriation request for the Intellectual Disability Financial Assistance Fund for $168,135, and I appreciate your consideration. And I'm here if you have any questions.
One quick question, the job training, the Ampersand?
Yes.
Where did you say that is?
That is right behind the Edward Jones, Bobby Bradford, Spencer Avenue, right off the bypass.
Oh, okay, yeah, I know where you're talking, east of there?
Yep.
Okay.
If you're familiar with where Midwest Coffee might be,
Yeah.
that's
Okay. Mr. McCourt?
If there are no questions, I'll make a motion we approve the request of the 4% increase to make the total appropriation of $168,135. And just for information, that'll be in the county council's part of the budget. We'll see that later when we do the county council piece.
Okay, well, thank you, Jim, for that motion. Do we have a second?
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Higgs. Anyone have any questions, Mr. Alba? Any questions from the public? If not, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you for coming tonight.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
All right. Next on our agenda, we have Veterans Affairs.
Good evening, gentlemen.
gentlemen. Jeffrey Kilgren, I'm the County Veteran Service Officer. And I've got, I think, a relatively simple budget request. But first time doing it, so devil's in the details. So fire away if something doesn't look right to you. Salaries we're requesting for 2026, 91572. Supplies we're requesting 3,000. Travel and conferences 2,500, and dues and subscriptions 150. And you can see there's an increase in most of these categories of a small nature. And that's what we are requesting for 2026. I also provided, for your information, just what I pulled off of the Indiana Department of Veterans Affairs website today. These are the statistics for our county. So this is your return on investment for what you get from our office. These are Grant County figures from the Veterans Affairs Department at the national level through the Indiana Department of Veterans Affairs. So the important number on this little handout is in the bottom left, 4,634. That's the number of veterans that the VA thinks are in Grant County. They recognize it's an approximation. But by way of comparison, our 4,600, nearly 5,000, Howard County has, by VA count, 5,400. Huntington County has 2,300. Wabash County, 1,600. The only one that's significantly larger than us is Madison County with 8,000. Delaware County with 5,300. So Little Blackfoot County has 800. So that's kind of how we compare with our neighbors. And you can see bottom left hand, that's what the VA thinks they pay into our county, 2024 figures. And my mission, the charter I got from our commissioners is, although the VA thinks there's 4,600 veterans in Grant County, in my database through the Indiana Department of Veterans Affairs, our office has only touched 1,793, about 1,800 of those. So less than half. I'm talking to the IDVA folks. That's kind of a rough average statewide. Only about half of the veterans in Indiana avail themselves of any of their veterans benefits. So what that means for you gentlemen is less money is coming into your county through the VA because veterans are not making use of their benefits. So one of the missions that the commissioners gave me when they hired me was to do more outreach, get the word out to the veterans in our county that there are services and benefits available to them, and that they should avail themselves of them. And the more they do so, the more money comes out of Washington to our county. And so therefore, I kind of think of our office as like a little team of grant writers. We're writing grants not for neighborhoods or projects, but for individual American veterans so that they can avail themselves of their VA benefits. And our challenge is to get enough word out that they come in and explore and find out what they're entitled to. And we do then help guide them through the necessary paperwork to get those benefits. So I'll pause for any questions you gentlemen may have.
I have a couple, I guess,
Yes, sir.
questions. I noticed in the supply account, you asked for $500 extra.
Yes, sir.
And travel and conference, $500 extra.
Yes, sir.
Over what 25 budget was.
Yes, sir.
Could you tell us why you think you need the extra?
Yeah, yes, sir. On the travel, the state of Indiana, when they passed their legislation this year, they passed a law that is going to require more direct oversight by the state of Indiana over these county veteran service offices. Part of that is more required training. Some of that will be us going to district and state training. Some of it will be out-of-state training for up to a week for a workshop. That's required in order for us to be accredited through the VFW and Disabled American Veterans. Right now, the basic training that we get as DSOs is only accredits us with the American Legion. So to the extent that we can partake in this additional training, then we're accredited through more organizations and we can provide more successful outreach to more veterans, and we can comply with whatever training and oversight requirements the state of Indiana comes up with, which they're still formulating. They haven't written that book yet. They just passed a law saying that there's going to be more oversight and training, and that's going to require us to do more. And in addition to that training type travel, I think it's advantageous for us when it makes sense to do so, to attend the national conventions of the American Legion and the VFW. A lot of really useful information comes out of those. Department of Veterans Affairs usually sends their top people to those. This year they had the VFW in Columbus, Ohio. Last year they had it in Louisville, Kentucky. So sometimes it's quite close. So when it makes sense to do so, I think it's in our favor to attend those types of events. On the supplies, it's basic wear and tear. We've got some basic office stuff, desks, tables, bookcases, refrigerators. We're just going to have to replace in the next calendar year. We've got a request working its way through. So it's simple stuff like that, whiteboards. If that answers your question.
When you're ready to purchase additional desks or new desks or whatever, are you going to work with the commissioner's office to make sure? Because sometimes things get moved around in the county too.
We are, and that's what Commissioner Millsworth told me is, can we do some swaps, which I'm totally cool with. If somebody has a nicer thing than my old thing, that's more the better.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Any other questions, gentlemen?
Probably about the only thing I would say is I understand the request maybe for the increase in the supplies, but yet being able to possibly utilize others and also looking at what was expended for 23 and 24 was less than $2,500, which is what the prior budgets had been, would make it seem like $2,500 might be more the proper amount for supplies with the travel and conference. It sounds like there's going to be more oversight and training, but yet they haven't written the book yet actually requiring it. It's just stated in the laws that they're going to do something, but yet they don't know what it is.
Well, I know for a fact the district has quarterly training and the state of Indiana has annual training. That's as a minimum. And I know for us to get accredited with VFW and Disabled American Veterans, that's a 1-week workshop. So those are the things that I know. I just don't know what else is out there on the horizon. On supplies, I think our 2024 numbers are low because my position was vacant from January to March. And then I was in training for 6 weeks after that. So I think there was less consumption than normal in this past year.
At this time, the chair would entertain a motion regarding the supplies account and the category 2 and the other services and charges category 3.
I was going to maybe deny both of those increases in my initial thoughts as I went through this, but having heard the explanation on the travel, I'm inclined to go ahead and grant the increase there. So I guess my motion would be to approve category 2 for supplies, keeping it at $2,500 as it was in 25, but allow the other services and charges appropriations as requested, the 2,500 and the 150.
Okay. All right. Do we have a second to that motion by Mr. McCourt?
Second.
All right, thank you, Mr. Looming. Any questions or further discussion regarding that?
So I just want to make sure I understood correctly. You're saying go with the 3,000 for supplies
No, I'm going to 2,500 for supplies.
and 2,500 for travel and 150 for dues and subscriptions?
Yes, that's correct.
And we can do it in that. That's totally. If that helps the vote.
Any other questions about that? Anything from the public on that? If not, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Next, we have area plan.
Hello.
Mr. Glanson.
Hello, council. Thanks for being on the schedule. So I have what was submitted to you. The salaries, personal services, that total number for all of that is, will remain the same. The part-time number is 0 there, but we have a part-time person. Angie and I talked about that this morning, right? Do you want to address that, or do you want me to go ahead?
Go ahead.
So there'll be $25,333 in for the part-time,
Repeat that number, please.
$25,333 for that part-time position. And then what I worked at was $237,987.72 for the salaries.
So you removed the 32,874? Is that correct? What you had is a permit registration clerk full-time that was new, you removed that number?
Our numbers don't match your numbers.
Yeah. We should have $265,000 in salary.
Right. And so what I'm saying is, when I went through all the salaries, I came up with a total of $237,987.72, which then makes that total just a few $1,000s less for personal services at $263,320.72. I trimmed it a little bit, that's what I'm saying.
I am assuming, correct me if I'm wrong, that you removed the line that we have in our schedule that shows a permit registration clerk, a new full-time position for 2026, $32,874. You removed that line and kept it as a part-time position at $25,333.
Right, I believe so. Okay. Let me check.
If I remove that full-time position, that new clerk position, it makes it 237, or 232,755.
Then you add the 25,000.
Right, 237,
Right.
232,755.
You pull that out and then add it back.
Okay.
And add back, it's a less number that we're adding back.
Right.
So what's the grand total we came up with?
263.
Okay, I had 258,088, is that
I do too.
258,088?
Yes.
There was 2 separate budgets that were submitted. I went with the one that had the new employee position.
Well, okay, that's what
So
we have.
he
in
is
our packets.
referring back
Yeah.
to the original, the other one that was submitted.
So the one that I'm looking at, actually, this 2026 requested salaries are less than 2025.
The reason they reflect less is because they were going on a calculation of 26 page. She didn't actually have the actual salary ordinance to refer to. So it's wrong all across.
So that entire 2026 requested column is wrong?
Yeah,
Okay,
that 232,755 is the right number.
that's not right either. Okay.
So what is the correct number? 250?
Do you have them?
I didn't, no.
Do you know, Mr. Glancy, the correct number?
What your 2026 request is for salaries?
Yes, I have what was submitted,
Okay.
and other than the salaries, everything else is.
Well, we're talking,
the same.
so what is your salary total? What is your
My
salary?
salary total that, I would like to request is the total.
Let's go
is
full-time first, the full-time first.
Full-time for salaries.
Right.
237,987.72.
97.72.
And I have a worksheet for that I made, but I haven't shared. Anyway. And
Just get
then,
that to me and I can.
okay. You want me to just email it to you?
Yep.
Or do you want?
Isn't that 25,333 then?
Yeah.
And then I think you gotta add the part-time, the 25,333.
Which would put it at 163.
I can take you through real quick. So the requested director pay would be
Okay, so do you want to go through the line
Yes,
items for the salary comparison?
Yes.
Or, okay. So director, I left that exactly the same, 66,568.
Okay.
Executive administration, 49,845. Building inspector, 42,167.50.
42,1.
That's the building inspector.
That must be the code enforcement.
Code enforcement, sorry. I should put my other glasses on.
167.50.
Say the code enforcement officer again.
Code enforcement officer, 42,167.50.
68.
Building inspector, 45,791.77
We gotta get rid of those sentences, by the way.
That's the way it calculates out. All right. And then permanent clerk, 33,660.
So you did leave the permanent clerk as a full-time position then in your request.
Well, I have always had one full-time and one part-time.
But
We have it titled as a code enforcement secretary.
Okay,
That's how
all
the
right.
position
Oh,
was
okay.
created.
Yeah, and I changed that on my sheet.
that's
So,
33, how much?
33,660.
Okay.
I fixed that one when I was my worksheet.
Okay.
And when you total those up, you get the 263, 320. Okay?
And you do realize we won't actually deal with personnel decisions this evening? Okay, just so you
Yeah,
know.
I've looked at the total budget.
And we want you to, we want to hear your thoughts, and just want you to know,
Yeah.
don't expect us to act on that tonight.
And, yeah, that's fine.
Did you go with a percentage increase, or how did you come up with those numbers? Just curiosity.
Well, one, I didn't give myself a raise at all. And then I kind of looked at staff. Part of it was the current staff I have, and then part of it was, like for the permit clerks, to be able to get people in there that are gonna remain in there and stay happy and productive. I think that position's just paid a little too low. So I looked at it both from the individual people we have in there and overall what it takes to fill that job and keep someone in there permanently. Or at least a longer period of time.
Gotcha. Okay, so we need to go back to supplies is 320. 365. I rounded a couple things.
Okay. And it was my understanding that salaries and so on are, you guys handle that a lot on your own. These are just my suggestions.
Right.
Okay. I'm gonna walk through the rest. Are we ready?
Yes.
Supplies, we kept the same. Garage and motors, we kept the same. Tried to keep the budget very tight. Legal services, we increased by $5,000. There are times, so $20,000, of course, is the basic contract for area plan legal services. The $5,000, we do have some small legal charges throughout the year where we have to request documents from other attorneys. And that is a legal service that we need to pay out, and we want to get under the right line item, okay? Travel and conference, I'd like to look at three of them, three line items. Travel and conference, tuition and reimbursement, and dues and subscriptions. All three of those, there was a pretty substantial increase, and that's to be able to train the staff well, okay, inform them really well, because we got to be efficient to be able to get the job that we want to get done in this, in this office. With the staff that we have, we need to be efficient and we need to do it well. And so the place I'd like to do is, increase the ability and the efficiency and the competency of the staff that we have. Telephone, The telephone was doubled. The inspector was the only one that had a telephone and not the code enforcement officer. You know, if you're a code enforcement officer, you don't want to be giving out your own personal cell phone. And then the other piece was an actual policy that was put into play this year in the personal safety, especially a code enforcement officer. No one wants to see him show up at the door, right? They need to have some ability to get a call out.
So they don't have a radio that would?
No, we didn't. We ended up not going down the radio route. I mean, that'd be another additional cost. The phone serves a lot of purposes, and we decided not to go down the radio route and just provide them with a cell phone so they don't have to give out their personal cell phone. It's also extremely helpful for them to navigate their inspection routes, right? To be efficient in their inspection routes is to have that map. I mean, it's computer in our hands, right? So that was telephone, tuition, photo, blueprinting, and legal. That was increased. We've got some maps that are pretty dated in that office. And these are the documents that we're supposed to count on for these maps for zoning. They really need updated. Those physical maps are what we have. And that's the record, right? So, and yeah, those just need to be updated. Dues and subscriptions, and then unsafe buildings was we kept that the same also. And the last item on equipment, we left that the same. So overall, it was, you know, we tried to remember to keep things extremely low and the same. Have any questions?
I guess just a comment for me was that legal services going from 20 to 25 seems pretty high. A pretty good increase. And then the telephone, how many phones was it that you were adding there?
Just one. We had one for the inspector, and we just added a second one for the code enforcement officer.
Is there, I mean, any way to get a discount? It just seemed like, I know my own cell phone plan, I mean, it's like $30 a month. That'd be like $360 as opposed to $750 would be like you added two compared to last year.
So last year they paid, you know, they spent most of it, right? Expended $703.
Yeah, and 24.
We're simply going with what was offered through IT, right? We went through IT.
You got a phone for $37 a month?
Dude, wow. It's the phone plan. Yeah. Verizon.
Can you add to your plan?
Yeah, you want to? You haven't did the family plan. Guess your family.
Yeah, I remember now.
Okay. Well, I guess if you're going through IT and that, then, okay.
I think it's a very good question, and I'll check into that and see if, are we getting some added service for that increased cost? I mean, we don't have to go with that, correct?
Yeah.
Well, we can shop around,
Okay.
and if we just go out as a department,
Back here, yes, yes,
is
sir.
that?
So the prices that we get for cell phone, they're based on a state QPA. And it's the same with Verizon and AT&T, so it doesn't make any difference where you shop. Your
Okay.
prices are gonna be the same.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
yes.
So you saved me some work. I really appreciate
Yeah.
that. Thank you.
Yeah. So they have a higher government rate.
Yeah, usually QPA should be the best, but yeah.
It should, but, yeah, I guess I'm, yeah.
Well then, yeah, if you spread that across all the phones that the county has, maybe that's a good question that at a higher level needs to go someplace.
Right, but just, yeah, I guess it is what it is. something for the commissioners to look into.
You know, you had a good-
Sorry.
On the legal piece, you had a good question, I think, Greg D.
Yeah.
And we haven't spent more than the 20,000 in the account to now, so you're thinking another 5,000, which is a 25% increase over the 20
Right.
is needed.
Well, and so I assume that this has been paid, these fees have been paid before, over the last years, but maybe they have not been taken out of the right line item. And so we're just kind of adjusting so that what we spend is coming out of the right line item,
And I like that to be out of the right line, that's a good thing.
right?
But
I
just,
mean,
it doesn't, right now, it doesn't show that history, I guess, is the question I have,
That's what I was going to get.
Yeah, the 20 is always paid because that's a contract.
right?
That's our contract.
And Angie may know this, and Todd, I don't mean to, you were new, so I'm not sure you
Yeah,
know
oh,
this
yeah.
in the past, but you had mentioned there were some legal contracts and things outside of here that you needed the extra money for. Has that happened in the past, and if so, where did we pay those?
I believe it's been paid out of legal through the commissioner's budget.
Okay. And if that's the way we want to handle it,
That's.
as long as we're pulling from the right place.
Speaking of that, can you explain the garage and motor? It looks like we never spend what we budget.
We left it the same, and it's nice to not be able to use it all, but we do have we have two vehicles, okay? And one of them is an older vehicle that was the sheriff's canine unit at one point. And so I know before our current code enforcement officer took that vehicle over, I took it out and did actually delivered packets, right, to the BZA in it. And it needed some serious work, and that was like $750. So I do believe it's a really good, solid vehicle that runs really well, and now it rolls well. It had some brake issues. I think it's a good, solid vehicle, and I would think that we should keep going, but I expect there'll be some higher repair bills on that instead of purchasing a new vehicle.
Is that?
At this point, now, one of the things, I don't know what we're doing county-wise with all the vehicles, if they're going to have a better plan on how to roll vehicles, but with what I have under this office, I believe that truck's worth rolling for another year or two.
Does that excess get transferred into another line item at the end of the year, or how is that accumulated, or how's that handled, that particular budget line item, the excess?
If there's money left at the end of the year, it's just unspent appropriation, so it's just nothing, unless they have to have a transfer from that account to another to balance another account out, it would just stay there.
Has that been the case at all? Have you transferred from that account back to other?
No, I haven't made any transfers at all. The other thing I'd like to say is I want to roll that truck too. Both of the code enforcement truck, needs to be on the road more, right? It needs to be out doing more inspections, and that's what I'm pushing for. So I expect that we're going to use more gas and fuel and oil changes than what we've used in the past.
So you have two vehicles, one's pretty new and then the.
Yeah, one's like really new, a couple years
That's
old.
what I thought, yeah.
So I guess my question is for the commissioners, should we reduce your legal side $5,000? Or should we reduce area plans by 5,000?
I think that I'd like to see the numbers before we made any reductions to make sure where things are being paid from.
I'd say we could remove it from this one if it's needed, we take care of that later. Right now, it hasn't shown it's been needed. Now, obviously, we want to make a reasonable budget, so it's a need, we want to consider that. But if it's been paid out of the other account,
Just leave it that way.
leave it that way, I would think. At this point.
Has anything been spent from the unsafe building, as it appears to be the same year after year also?
It's a fund-to-fund transfer. I do it every year. I just automatically at the first of the year transfer it out of this fund to the unsafe building fund. So it does get spent.
Actually gets spent out of the other fund.
Because we put back into that after we do a demolition, we get paid back some money, and then that goes back into the same fund, is that correct? So it's kind of buffer money for the property owners. You know, we get that taken care of them, taking all the things that need to be done for a demo, get that paid for up front, and then they pay us back. And some people do it, you know, in different manners. Point is, we get the building down.
Does your code enforcement officer work outside of the city? Is that how that works with your code enforcement officer? Or does he work with the city's code enforcement officer?
She works only in the county, so not in Gas City.
No small towns?
She does work in small towns,
Okay.
and been to the different small town halls and so on, just to, you know, introduce myself and so on. But there's kind of an agreement, it's kind of a verbal agreement. There are certain things, you know, each town has some ordinances that are specific for that town. But the law enforcement in that town will take care of a lot of the, like, oh, the grass is too tall, those kinds of issues. You know, and then when something escalates a little bit more, then they call us in. You know, but like unsafe structures, we take care of that in the town. So we kind of split some things up there a little bit. We haven't drawn any contracts or anything, but it seems to be working pretty well. Does that answer your question?
Marion and Gas City are the only two with code enforcement offices.
Right.
So if there's an unsafe building in Sweetser that needs to be demolished, that comes out of your fund?
That turns into, you know, a case or an issue, right? And then we have to work with the property owners and the town, and how are we gonna pay for this, right? I mean, 55 grand doesn't go very far.
Right. Yeah.
Right? So between asbestos checks, the checking that you have to do beforehand, and then the hauling away, right? And the dumpsters are required. All that money, we can pay that out, but we want a contract, or if we have to go to court, right? Then we have a court case, and then that dictates what we have to do. But the property owner, at the end of the day, is liable or responsible to be paying that back.
Is there a balance in that unsafe building fund?
Yeah, it's $113,500, give or take.
Ish.
That's as of today. I think the budget sheet, oh, I didn't put one in there.
I was gonna ask that question.
I'm sorry, I tried to do that.
With that one, we've had a lot of questions. What I had heard from Mr. McWhirter, maybe I'll leave it open to him to say if he would approve it this way or make the motion this way, or I guess anybody else. But I guess what I'm hearing was for supplies, for that account number 2, or that category 2, the 12,500 for the other services and charges, which would be the category 3, perhaps 83.5 with a $5,000 reduction to legal services. So that would only be at 20,000. And then category 4 would be the $2,000 for the equipment. I guess that's the motion that I'm.
Yeah, I have some other concerns on travel and conference. Yes, that's a large increase. We're talking $2,300 more. I can see them needing more if they're gonna go to more training and so forth with the newer staff.
Okay.
But I guess my thought is, I don't know what the plan is yet in specifics, but my thought is I would probably make that an increase of maybe 1,500 to make it up to 2,000 even instead of the 2,800. That gives you quite a bit of extra for what it is in 25. But it's not a huge difference in total overall dollars, but I would either go 1,500 or 2,000 on that account is what I'd be thinking.
Okay.
the overall total he's requesting out of services and charges is $9,250 more than what it was. And that's 11% higher. And
Is that taking the 5,000 off?
that's before taking the 5,000 off, so makes a big difference taking that 5,000
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
So if they took the 5,000 off, we'd be talking that, and I would say another 800 off of the travel and conference, so you're talking $5,800 off of that.
I think that number is like 82,800.
82.7?
Maybe.
Yeah, 82.7, I think.
Good.
I think I'm in agreement with that. I mean,
Okay.
if we're ready to make a motion.
Yeah, I think so. So, Mr. McCourt, is your motion then, I guess on the other, I'll just start from the top, and for category 2 supplies would be the 12,500. The other services and charges would be a total of, which is category 3, a total of 82,700, with legal services being 20,000, and the travel and conference is set at 2,000, and then the capital outlays category 4 would be at $2,000.
Yes, I would make that motion.
Okay, so that's the motion by Mr. McCourt, and
I'll second.
okay, Mr. Brankel seconds that. Do we have any comments regarding that? Anything from the public or Mr. Glantz?
Well, like I said, the 2,500 or the 25,000 for legal services, I just wanted to make sure it was being spent in the right, out of the right lines. So appreciate that.
Okay.
I haven't been going to the commissioners for money, so I've been trying not to go to anybody for money,
Yeah.
right? I feel like that's part of my job.
I've been okay.
Let's do the budget right.
I've been okay reducing them by 5,000.
Okay.
You can go either way.
Yeah. Okay, well,
Yeah, and I completely understand, we have not put out a plan or looked at exactly what we want to do from a travel standpoint and what that is. This is just kind of,
Shot in the dark a little bit.
shot in the dark. We just haven't had the time to be able to pick out exactly what we want to do. I'm trying to find everything I can online that's free.
And of course, we appreciate that.
I mean,
We're trying to make sure we kind of hold the line on things as much as we can too.
well, I mean, you guys, I'm here because I'm a citizen and
yeah.
I'm looking at it from that standpoint.
We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Glantz.
Thank you.
And I think next, we do have the unsafe building fund up.
You got one more.
Oh, I thought that was.
Yeah, it's separate.
It's a separate fund.
It's a separate fund. Unsafe building fund 1207.
Okay.
And it's historically been 55,000, I guess, last year, and the request is 55,000 this year.
Just for basically you guys too, whatever money goes into that fund, it stays in that fund. If it's not spent at year end, it just stays in that fund to be appropriated and used the next year. So it looks like this year so far, as of June 30th, they've used 16,857 of the amount that they're appropriated. I assume the second half, they may do some more work. But this is a separate fund that retains its balance at year end, that we do appropriate.
This is the fund that you were saying has approximately 113,500 in it.
And you appropriate $55,000.
Yep.
Yeah, we just appropriate that to be transferred in.
Okay. Chair would entertain a motion regarding unsafe building fund, well, I guess in its entirety, the other services and charges.
So moved.
All right, thank you, Mr. Brankel. Motion by Mr. Brankel. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, thank you, Mr. Cadell. Have a second? Any other comments or questions? Anything from the public on that one? If not, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you,
All right,
Mr. Glancy.
thank you.
Yep. Next, we have the Extension General Fund.
Good evening. I'm Chris Goff. I'm the County Extension Director for Youth Development Educator here in the county. I first want to start off by thanking the community. If you were able to attend the 4-H fair this year, you might have seen our brand new livestock pavilion that was supported by members of the community and 4-H families. So if you were able to see that, it's a great addition to our fairgrounds. So thank you to the community for that. They hope in the future they'll get that to where it could be used for different community events, because it is a large building that's wide open, and so hopefully we can work together if there's community events that need to happen for that. As for our budget, personal services, I know that's something that the county council will look at later, and so we just put in a percentage increase, but we know that will be up to the council to decide that. The only other thing that had any increases that we put in was our contractual services, which is with Purdue University for 2.5 educators here in the county. And so that was a 3% increase that was requested by Purdue for that contractual service. So that's the only other thing that was increased on our budget. Are there any questions about that? Hopefully it's pretty straightforward.
So to keep the 2.5 positions, we need to increase our appropriation by 3% to meet the contract that they would
Yes,
request,
yes.
require.
And I think that's been about what it's been the last several years, 3%.
Double checking that percentage increase.
Your report, that's what it was. Yeah, that's cool. I wasn't sure of that.
I thought that's what it's been for several years now.
I'd have to look back. There's a few more we could look at, but okay. I know we've had discussion in the past about keeping that position number at 2.5. That's what we've been holding to just because of cost, I think. And unless there are more questions, I'm willing to move that we approve it as requested with that increase on the contraction piece.
I'll second that.
Okay, and so that's approval for the supplies category 2, other services and charges category 3, as well as capital outlays.
Yes,
category 4.
those 3 categories.
Okay, all right, thank you, Mr. McCord. Is that a second by Mr. Frankel? All right. Any other questions or comments? Anything from the public on that one? Not all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Next on our agenda, we have Sheriff. Well, I believe he's on vacation this week.
Good timing.
Yes, it was, wasn't it?
Mr. President, gentlemen of the council, Sheriff's out of town. He's on vacation this week, so I'm here.
That way, he planned that on purpose?
How, I don't know. He may have, but he's enjoying an ocean view. So as we sat down, and I do have Becky Dollar here with us as our budget guru. She really knows everything. But we did sit down and look at potentially asking for increases in 5 areas, one being garage and motors, which is our gas and our vehicle repairs. One of the issues is obviously increasing costs like anything else. Then we're not getting any reimbursement for also gas for other county agencies that also use the gas pump. We looked at uniforms and ammo. Again, price increases. Just so you're aware, a new hire, merit deputy uniform, that's cost about $3,841 to uniform a deputy. Detention deputies are a lot less than that because they don't have all the equipment carry and things that we do. And a lot of our used stuff do go to the jail deputies and things such as vests that lose, the vests only have a 5-year warning. Bulletproof, but they're good for impact and maybe sharp objects and stuff, and we try to pass those down and use those. So Those are some of the increase, of course, ammunition. You know, it looks like we spent $30,065 in ammunition for this year alone. Looked at medical, they're asking for a 4% increase. You know, your jail population's got a lot of sickness at times. I think this afternoon, I knew we had 3 inmates admitted to Marion Health. You know, a lot of times it's, these 3 were, I think, all from over the week. They're all drug withdrawals, you know, and get admitted for a few days. So going back to bulletproof vests, which we've used both uniform budget and bulletproof vest, asked for an increase in it just because we have at least 7 vests in 2026 that'll need to be replaced. When you talk about replacement of the vest, well, those total costs are $2,417 for a vest, the panels and everything when you get it all together. So that anticipates 7 increases would be 16,000 or so. So it's over the 15 that's been in that budget for a while. So we're asking to look at that. And it's not only merit deputies, but, you know, our reserves, our special deputies in the courthouse, and vests are specially fitted. So, you know, we do try to reuse the other ones if we find some that fits right or whatever and reuse them. But, and then the last area actually is the juvenile housing contractual, and ask for an increase in that. Again, that's something the sheriff's office has no control over. That's really handled by the probation department, the juvenile court, and the expense there of housing juveniles outside of the county. And I think there was right now, I think this week or weekend, I think we had at least 4 being housed out of county. That always varies and down. I know also that, you know, you're aware the 13-year-old that committed murder and was housed every day for probably over a year or so. And I know the cost a day is around $200 or more. I think females are a little more than males, but, you know, the cost is there, so.
A question on the vests. I guess you were saying that you were anticipating 7 vests in 2026, which I think would be closer to the 15,000, but you're at 35.
Yeah, we had it at 7 vests would be at 16, almost 17,000 calculating.
Okay.
And then again, then you don't know if you have more hires during that period of time that you got to buy additional vests for. You know, because even our turnovers and special deputies and things, sometimes we be required to purchase.
35,000 would accommodate roughly 14 vests probably, that range, right? You see that as being an even possible 14 new ones?
You never know, but I'd have to look. There's been a big turnover just in the 2 years that sheriff, 2.5 years sheriff's been in office.
And we're showing the whole 15 spent in 25 so far out of that account. And that's what we spent in 24. Or if we,
Well, I know in the
maybe
past
another account paid part of that or something, because it's exactly even in those accounts.
Yeah, there's other times I know that we went to uniform, I believe, and commissary to pick up.
Gotcha.
Cost, okay?
Wonder if 30% increase to 20,000 might be a little more reasonable, but.
I noticed, I guess overall, the increases in the accounts don't surprise me, I guess, in what we're asking. Garage Motors, I mean, it was a 17% increase, which it sounds high, but you never know what gas and fuel is gonna do. And we have spent 123,000 through the first half of this year. That'd be on a pace of what? 250,000, let's say, so maybe that's a little high.
Yeah.
I did note though, on the out of county inmate, the housing of those, it's 750,000, we kept it the same. Is that on the low side based on what we've been spending? It seems low to me.
Yeah.
It will be. We're running out. We pulled inmates back. I believe the sheriff will be asking for appropriation next month.
And I guess I'd rather up front do something we think is gonna be reasonable instead of shorten it that much.
Yeah, I'm supposed to meet with him next week. We just got a meeting scheduled. And he wanted to talk about that.
Yes, right.
I think, yeah, it's,
Yes, because we recently pulled inmates back because we're running out of money.
The balance
So
in that
we're-
account now is $100,000.
And so we spent 650 at this point. Because I was thinking we were on the pace of like 1.1 million a year or something like that. That's what I was thinking.
1.2.
Maybe, okay, yeah. Yeah, I had 1.1 in my mind, but
They're $40 a day, and we've been averaging, I think it's 80 inmates housed out of county.
maybe that's one of the accounts we hold off and decide how much to put in there later.
Yeah, because what we don't know is what the new referee position is going to do to.
And when, we probably won't know that enough
That's what
to
I'm saying, we're not
decide
gonna know.
that. We're gonna have to set something without knowing that probably, before we're done with this process. But after Greg meets with the sheriff, may have a better feel for some of that, understanding that he has.
right.
But I saw that was the same, and I thought, is that reasonable or not? I think that may be too low. It'd be nice if it'd stay at that level, but probably not gonna stay at that level.
Right.
Unless they do hold back people and have.
Well, we have, because we know we're gonna run out before he was gonna be able to get appropriation. And then, a little bit, I think, we'll sidetrack with the Deputy Fowler and a couple weeks there that.
So what are we thinking on that out of county number?
Yeah, I guess my thought is we can approve the appropriation for those category, those accounts in that category, accept that one, just leave that one unapproved at this point. Keep it in there, the 750 that's in there, but we'll come back and address that later in the process after Greg meets with the sheriff. Maybe you can give us some of the thoughts that came out of that meeting and we can decide if we want to keep it the same or bump it up or whatever we want to do to it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like they're on a shortfall. So
And one of the goals we have is as we go through the process, we want to keep it as realistic as possible, so we aren't hit with a surprise down the road that's substantial, and this could be substantial.
Yeah, definitely. Could be.
so under the assumption, we're probably gonna have to increase that. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I mean, I'd love to hear after he meets with the sheriff.
I'd rather do that than have to come back for additional appropriation.
Yeah, I don't want to be hitting in 2026 after we've already set the budget and done what we've already done with this budget and have another 400,000 staring us in the face.
Yeah, I think it's better to approve it up front.
Yeah, probably unfortunately, it sounds like probably at the pace that we've been running, it's probably a more reasonable number to be around 1.1 million or 1.2 million.
Sounds like.
It's probably the number, but I hate to hear that number. And again, that referee court, spending roughly 200,000 a year was planned to save that, so.
On the garage and motors, I'll ask a little question here. We do get new cars every year, so we're keeping the staff or the fleet roughly the same age. Is that a fair statement?
Well, my understanding, we've been getting about, I think, commissioners have bought 5 the last 2 years. Each, we bought a couple more each year, I think, with commissary. So my understanding is under Sheriff Nevels, there was a few years there that didn't buy any vehicles. And so, yeah, they are turning over. We're getting more and more better fleet, younger fleet, or newer fleet.
Yeah, I guess when that, hopefully we'll have less repairs needed with, at least keeping it,
Yes.
if keeping the same age, repairs should be somewhat
Yes,
similar.
they were having a lot of problems with a lot of the old Impalas and stuff, and then still have some problems with some of the older Dodges, but mainly the Impalas.
And, you can expect fuel to go up some. I'm not sure if you expect it 17%, but I mean, that wouldn't be surprising to see it go up some.
How does it work for the code enforcement vehicle? Does he get fuel out of the tank?
I believe everybody in the county uses that gas tank. That was talk about the reimbursement. We've not been getting any reimbursement
Yeah.
from other county agencies that get
So
gas.
that's
part of
So
it.
it's paying for everybody.
So is
Yeah,
there a
but we have been in
plan-
the past, you
Is
realize.
there a plan to change that or create some accountability there? I mean, we're putting that money.
I believe the sheriff has asked in the past about reimbursements, but hasn't got it.
Can I explain that? So, like area plan, they have a budget for gas and motors. They do a claim, we issue a check, it gets deposited into the county general fund, but it does not get reappropriated back into his fund
Thank you.
after he spends it to buy gas. So we do, it's just in a circle.
And really, if it's within the general fund, that makes sense to even do it because
I know,
it's cash in and
exactly.
out. So
Yeah.
really, unless you're changing the appropriation accounts, it doesn't really matter too much.
But it holds the departments accountable
Yeah.
for what they use too,
Yeah.
so.
So it is tracked, what
Yes.
each department spends.
But
in
the
the
sheriff
mile.
department budgets for everyone's fuel.
Correct. They're the ones that actually pocket the money for the buying of the fuel itself.
But actually, the other departments, like she mentioned area plan, they're actually getting a reduction in their budget when they get charged that too, though, right out of their garage and motor account.
Yeah.
So
we'll take
the
$20.
appropriation's being hit twice, really.
Okay.
Yeah.
Out of this fund, out of the general fund, and out of the sheriff's department budget and out of area plan's budget. But it doesn't get added back to the sheriff's
Right.
appropriation,
Where does that revenue go?
general fund.
It goes into
Just the general
miscellaneous
fund.
revenues.
It's, as long as other departments are being held accountable, it probably doesn't really matter a whole lot, except we are double budgeting it, you could say.
Yeah, yeah.
But,
We just need to make sure that they're appropriating enough money to cover the
yeah,
fuel. for
and cash wise, it doesn't matter, the cash is being accounted for, okay, it's just a matter of how the appropriations are being handled.
If there was a shortfall in his budget at the end of the year, where would that come from?
He transferred from one of his other accounts, or we'd have to approve an additional.
So as of right now, you're 6 months in, you're 122 grand, so 244 for the year. Is there, like, you're in maintenance or things that happen to raise that up to that 300K level by the end of the year? Because to me, it looks like you're actually gonna spend 244, then we're asking for 350 next year. So that's, 110 grand increase.
You know, except you look at the prior year expenses. In
Right,
23,
I
you
saw
spent
that.
350.
But that's also fluctuation in the commodity price too. So, I mean, I understand what you're saying.
You're starting to get a newer fleet. Yes, we understand we're starting to get a newer fleet and hopefully not as many maintenance costs.
Okay.
I was thinking, just going through it today, looking at it, maybe you give them a 10% increase in that account to accommodate for some kind of increase in price and so forth, but, so that would make it 330,000 instead of 350. That's a 10% increase. And based on what they spent in past years, they may use that. I mean, newer fleet should be less chance for having to spend all that for repairs, but.
They're also moving inmates back and forth from county to county and.
Yeah, that's one reason it could be higher too.
Yeah.
But we've done that.
Sure.
And
You know,
DSC.
the 2025 number doesn't show it being, high at this point.
Yeah.
I even thought the uniforms and ammo, we're talking that's a 33% increase there from 45 to 60. I expect some increase, but does it need to be a third more? I mean, that's a questionable amount in my mind, but I can see some increase there. If you went
I agree
10%.
with that. I'm along that same line of thought.
I know on the bulletproof vest, they have a life, and once they reach that need, they're trash.
But they always have been though, I mean, so this isn't new as far as that goes. And when the bulletproof vests are in a different account though too, it's back here in the other account. I can make an attempt at a motion if you want.
Absolutely. Sounds like a great idea.
It may be a little complex. Okay, I would say under category 2, the supplies, I would leave all the accounts as requested with 2 exceptions. I'd make garage and motors 330,000. And I would make the uniforms, ammo, and flares 50,000. So that's taking off taking off $30,000 from that account. Yes. From that total.
Which one did you reduce the other one? Uniforms?
Garage and motors down to 330,000.
Right.
Uniforms and ammo, 50,000. So we cut 30,000 out of that category, makes it, what's that, 489.5?
I believe so.
489.5 for that total category.
Yes.
And then for category 3, other services and charges, I would leave it the same with one exception. I'm gonna remove our approval of out-of-county inmate housing. Just leave that blank at this point. All the other accounts we'd approve.
Okay.
That makes sense? And then, under the capital outlays account, I would keep the equipment account the same, and I would make the vests 25,000 instead of 35,000.
Good.
So that makes that account a total of $35,000. Those two lines combined.
Okay. All right, so that's a motion on the floor.
I'll second that.
All right, thank you, Mr. Cudjoe. Second, any other questions or further discussion? Anything from the public on those items? If not, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And then we need to vote on.
Let me make one more comment.
Yes,
We'll deal with this later, I guess we do personnel.
Yep.
But under personnel, you'll notice there's a line for merit pension. It shows $956,318. There's a letter, it's like this salmon color, whatever that color is, letter that explains the 3 levels of contribution the county could consider. And we generally have done the level of requesting. That's kind of that middle of the road. It's the recommended amount.
Recommended.
So just for information, later as we deal with personnel, we probably want to make sure that we approve one of those numbers. And my thought is what they're asking is what we normally do, so.
And that's what's in the budget there.
Yes, that's what's in there. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for clarifying that. Bring that to our attention. Next, we have the general fund for the detention center. Which I believe that the contractual services there was that increase that you were talking about from the, I think it was 400, now we're asking for 600. And year to date, we've already expended 275, so it looks like we're probably gonna be above that 400,000.
550 at least, if you're looking at that, yeah.
So that would seem to make the 600 a realistic number.
Is that something you're gonna be talking with the sheriff about as well, or?
Probably so, because, yeah, I mean, again, that's.
So we could, I guess my thought is if we're gonna do that
Same
same
lines.
conversation, we could hold off on this one until you have that conversation as well, if you wanted to.
Okay. Yep. We can do that.
What would be the benefit of holding on?
I'm trying to get a more realistic number. Is 600 the realistic number for that, or would it be higher? So.
And this probably is more realistic, I'm guessing, but.
Right. So I mean,
So we wouldn't have, I mean, if you want to do it tonight, we can. I mean, I just,
When will we revisit it?
when's your meeting scheduled?
it's scheduled for next week.
You know what day?
I just wrote it down today in my calendar.
Because we could revisit either Wednesday or Thursday, either one of our sessions next
Okay.
week, if you meet
Yeah.
before that.
I
Yeah.
think it's next Thursday.
Okay, next Thursday. Thank
We
you.
could do it a Thursday evening or last of the 4 sessions if we wanted to.
Next, I think I put on there 8, 9, or 10 a.m. So yeah.
If you feel like there's an advantage to waiting, I'm okay with it. I just don't know if there's any.
Yeah, just maybe we have more information, especially on the adult one. This one here's probably a number I'm not surprised at.
Oh,
Right.
yeah, I don't.
The other one, I was a little surprised it was that low.
Right. Yeah, maybe the juvenile number, we can go ahead and approve that one.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to it.
Yeah. Although if you look historically, I mean, the 2024 number expended was 636.
Right.
So we're over that number.
But I think, you know, that can always fluctuate a little bit. I guess that's reasonable at least.
Right. You meet with the sheriff, yeah.
Right.
There's currently an unexpended balance in that of $31,094.
31,000?
Yeah.
No, so we spent $370,000 so far. And that's as of now, today. Yeah, so it's 600 maybe low.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. After you meet the sheriff, that could be a low.
Maybe we should say that one then. We'll see after meeting with the sheriff.
I'd say if after that meeting you have with him this Thursday, if we can't have any better information by Thursday, we go ahead and do something. We make a decision in our Thursday session to put an amount in there.
Okay.
And
go back to this.
That's what I would suggest. We've got to do something. We can go based on our best feel, I guess.
Okay. But otherwise, I guess we'll entertain a motion then regarding the supplies, which is category 2, with that request at the 237,500.
I'll make a motion to accept the supplies at 237.5.
All right, thank you, Mr. Brinkle. We have a motion to approve that. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, thank you, Mr. Scott. We have a motion and a second regarding those supplies, category 2 at 237,500. Anybody have any questions or comments? Anything from the public? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. And then the final one is the work crew fund.
That's all salaries.
And that's all salaries. So, yeah. We won't talk about that one at this one, unless you had anything that you wanted to say about it.
Again, I guess I don't. Obviously, we have work crews that the city pays and/or, 2 of the work crews.
Yeah, they pay for 2 of these.
Year round.
They pay for 2 of these?
Yes.
I think that's what I saw somewhere on the notes.
And we have 1 county. And then we have an arrangement with one of the SOR positions in Gas City, pays part of their salary for the work crew during the summer months in Gas City.
Yeah, here, our note in pink, it says Marion reimburses us for 2 of the deputies there.
Right.
All right, well, thank you for coming this evening.
Okay, I have one question.
Yes.
Just so I make my notes right.
Yes.
On the medical 4% increase, are you saying go with that, or are you saying stay with that?
No, we kept that one as is. We approved that one.
You approved that one? Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that was a 4% increase. That seems reasonable to me to expect that. So.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, now we have on our calendar a break, and Mr. Scott is taking advantage of it.
No, you keep going.
All right, yep, I think we will take a break then. We have on here about a 15-minute break, but we'll reconvene, and now we are ready for Superior Court 2. Judge Meeks.
He is here. I didn't see him. Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you for the opportunity to be here this evening. Just as a quick update, I was running some numbers for our court before we came over. Happy to report Superior 2 is open for business. And the last 90 days, it shows that we're clearing criminal felony cases at a rate of 243%. So closing out 2.5 cases for every case open.
Awesome.
And we're 65% quicker than the state average on closing out juvenile cases. So state average, as a juvenile case is filed, it's 55 days to adjudication, and we are at 36 days, which is the lowest it's been in at least the last 5 years. So very happy for those reports. So looking to the numbers this evening, really not much change as we look to the categories considered tonight: supplies, services and charges, and capital outlays. Those are all staying the same. There is one difference in supplies, so that's a little wonky because when you did the budget last year, there was no line item for canine supplies. The council approved that after the first of the year, and that was accomplished by transferring $10,000 out of the Appeals and Pauper Council Fund. So there was not an additional appropriation to fund that line item, but we are asking that that be funded as its own separate line item, and then money put into the Appeals and Pauper Council Fund going forward with 2026. But other than that, one kind of one-off situation, everything else is staying the same. Again, for the categories under consideration, obviously with personal services, as I imagine you've seen with most of the departments, we are asking for staff raises there. We had landed unanimously with all the courts, so this is not something that you'll just hear from me, but you'll hear from the other judges next week. We're asking for an across-the-board salary for all court reporters in all courts for an even $50,000 for their salary. That's about a about a $4,400 bump from last year.
$4,372.
Thank you, Mr. McWhirter, thank you. So a little bit of a bump there, but we felt like that was justified given the current state of situation, keeping us competitive with other surrounding counties. And I think Judge Spitzer's reported perhaps in the past the increase in case filings will just continue to go up every year, and the number of staff have not. So it's just increased pay for increased work. So, and that's our logic behind that. But for Superior 2, again, those other line items really have remained unchanged for 2026. So I'll be more than happy to entertain any questions this evening.
Might be a commercial question, but the K-9 supplies, are you using fresh pad or old Rolaic?
I think it's a Victory brand from Tractor Supply.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Why did I envision Christmas Vacation and Cousin Eddie filming?
That's a good scene, that's a good scene. He can afford lighting, you might as well.
Yeah, or we got up on the car. Yeah. I see the judge at
We can afford
Walmart on
this.
the overall.
You can afford this stuff? Let's give him a list.
Yeah.
Sorry, Judge.
No, it's getting late.
Yeah.
So all
it
means.
is. All right.
So I will just refresh your memories briefly on the court-appointed special advocate line item. Again, we're not asking for any increase there. That is a fund that is matched by the Indiana General Assembly. And so we're asking for the same amount as what was given last year. Candidly, I don't know that it's going to be matched to that same level. I think the CASA filings are down, CHIN's filings in general are down, so CASA involvement is down. But Leslie Holt, the executive director, did ask that we keep that amount the same, with the idea that the vast majority of that will be matched by the Indiana General Assembly.
The chair would entertain a motion probably regarding the category 2 supplies at $14,500, other services and charges category 3 at $82,239, and capital outlays category 4 at $4,550 for approval.
So moved, Mr. President.
All right. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Mr. Lewing. Any questions or further discussion? Anything from the public? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, same sign. Motion approved.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, yeah, 4D.
40 incentive,
yes,
it's all personnel.
But it's all personnel. Yeah. But
I'm
I
not
do,
sure, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, congratulations on those numbers that you're running on the juveniles. I
Very
mean,
pleased with that. Very
yeah,
pleased.
that's fantastic. And then also on the closed cases that you've done in the last 90 days.
Yes,
That's fantastic.
thank you.
So,
Appreciate that. I couldn't do it without the staff that I have. I certainly have to give them credit for that. So I will mention this, I'm sorry not to take up your time, but I'm not sure I did my math correctly. Angie, you'll have to help guide you on this at the next hearing on personal services as we start talking about the 4D incentive. Obviously, is it a 40% of that particular court reporter's salary is paid out of there?
Yes, it's a 40/60.
Okay, so I'm not sure I did my math
Yeah,
exactly correct.
because it kept, stayed the same, so you didn't actually change the percent, you didn't change it to the percent.
We're wanting the total to be 50, that's what we're requesting, so that might change.
Yeah, I put the increase in the general.
It's all in the general in it, yeah.
Okay,
So, but it does need to be 40%,
I think it's 40%.
so we can change that later if we
Yeah.
need to or whatever.
So I just wanted to bring that to you.
I noticed it stayed the same, I didn't, yeah, okay.
Very good. Anything else? All right, you all have a good.
thank you.
Thank you.
was gonna call for another break, but.
That's fine. Maybe after this.
Good evening, council members. Commissioner Millsworth here. I'll go ahead and start with our personnel piece, the 1,000 items. I did request a 15% increase. I rounded it up. I mean, obviously, whatever you guys decide, we're fine with. If that's a zero, that's fine as well too. If you do go to your salary sheet, we did cut for 26 the administrative assistant out of the budget. And we're also, I know there's a line item for overtime at 10,000. I would request that be zeroed out. Our two administrative, our HR, insurance, and then our county administrator, both are gonna be exempt from overtime, the change we made. So we will no longer need the overtime line item. Is there any questions or comments on my salary request? Okay, I'll move on to the 2,000 line items. In supplies, I believe there's no changes to note. Any questions regarding supplies? I'll move on to other services and.
Well, I'm gonna back up 1 second. The copier and printer expenses, there's been nothing spent in 2025 as of June 30. Is there a reason for that, or?
I believe it was transferred after this has been after the 6:30.
So it's been created, there's been some.
Yes, there's been
Yeah, there
some
since, okay, all right, okay. I was saying, could we have reduced that, and I guess not, okay.
Yep. Good question. As you can see, the vehicle insurance, we're requesting $270,000. I provided a sheet at your table this evening. This is from IMG. If you look at our business auto policy, it's showing the cost will be $268,968. And so this, I never had seen this breakdown as a council member. I thought it was a great idea to go ahead and get a breakdown of our insurance. So this is why the requests are to be increased as far as the vehicle insurance.
What is our policy date run, Shane, do you know?
We have
11/1. Okay, so it goes 11/1 to 10/31, whatever.
So one of the things that Commissioner Point and I have been working on is trying to make things go 6/1 to 6/1. That way, if any new elected officials come into office, there's an opportunity to bid or, change the services.
Study it, before.
7/1 to 6/30, you mean? 7/1 to 6/30.
So that's something we're working on some other things as well, just so you know.
So what's their justification of raising $100,000 for vehicle insurance?
Well,
If you look at what's been spent, it hasn't actually been raised that much. Maybe it's been taken out of other account money or
yeah,
something.
I'm guessing that they was shuffling funds around to make the budget correct.
You see, it was 221,000 in 24, 218,000 in 25. So it's an increase, but it's not 100,000 as far as the actual dollars spent.
So one of the things with this sheet is I want to have an actual budget. And so being, I'm not sure how detail oriented the previous administration was with their budget. I know what the records that we received were. So this is really the only one that I know for a fact that, what the cost is going to be.
Are these all IMG numbers here?
Yes.
I thought you guys switched or something.
We switched the health insurance broker.
Just that part?
Yes.
And Mike, I'd ask if, do we have the invoice from last year to see what it was so we can actually compare it actually? We probably have it someplace. Well, I don't know the information yet though.
I'm just looking, even in 2023, we expended $157,000.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just in 2 years, it's went up $110,000.
Right.
$110,000 in 2 years.
Obviously,
we didn't have that many vehicles, did we?
Well, I mean, we have a newer fleet. We added those newer ambulances. We added, 5 new, with our ARPA funds, 5 new Tahoes. We're getting ready to add another 4 new vehicles. So I know things have gone up. And one of the things I mentioned to Mr. McCourt before the meeting, I would like to look at a self-insured policy regarding the vehicles. If that's something maybe we could entertain to where you could just buy,
How's that work?
I think you just buy, what is it, PLPD, is that what they call it?
There probably, maybe some, like a stop loss, if like a liability claim goes above a certain level, it'd kick in or something like that.
I'm just wondering if we could just, what the savings would be to go PLPD versus, and then take the savings, put in another fund. If you do have a total loss, you pay to buy the new car of that fund.
I told him it's worth that. The conversation's worth having, but it'd be interesting to see, health insurance would do that. We have a self-insured with a stop loss, above a certain level, it kicks in.
I guess something that if you wanted to do that, I guess it'd be interesting to see any accidents that we've had, whose fault was it? If it was our fault, then we're gonna be spending a lot of money on that.
But you never know what the next one's gonna be.
Right.
It's always that risk.
True, true. Yeah.
So I wasn't really sure, should we do that or not? But I mean, we can always have the conversation at some point.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right now, we're not really ready for that.
Yeah, it's always
I
options.
don't really have any time to devote to that at the moment.
Oh, okay.
It's something that we need to look at.
All right.
So that's the request of the 270. The other request, contractual services legal, we increased it 20,000. There's two things that I really didn't account for in the budget. One was the contract with our economic developer, Augusta Consulting, and two, the lobbyist. I did not include those two fees in. I'm hoping to consume it within the budget through savings. And so I did increase it 20,000 just in case there's not enough to cover both those items. I think that will be fine overall with our total budget.
Shane, why are there two legal accounts? Why can't we just have one legal account?
I have no idea.
Would it make sense to combine them into one?
So, I mean, I don't know why.
Okay. You guys can look at that. I saw there were two, thinking, why do we have two?
Yeah, no, I mean, that's something that's always, been that way, and
I wonder what the difference is between the two.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to maybe.
so like legal services, the actual legal service item, I did increase it 10,000. RDC is gonna have to have legal advice to operate RDC. And currently, our attorneys, taking RDC's legal on, but at some point there will be a bill regarding RDC.
I can kind of explain that. The contractual services legal, that's where the commissioner's attorney is paid from. The legal services is the outside legal representation that we have to get for.
Yeah, which we pay for all the legal regarding the sheriff's department.
Right, when the county gets sued and just special litigation.
Yeah, any special litigation comes out of legal services. I know that here recently it's been more than expected. So, yeah, we'll move on. The next request that was changed, promotional. Would like to go back to $1,000 in promotional with our new HR director. And we'd like to attend some job fairs, and so some items for the job fair. I'm not sure how or why that the promotional was zeroed out at some point, but I believe, did we move it to central dispatch? Because I believe they're the only other department that has promotional. So I think we did move it at some point to there. And so if you look at building liability, again, we're requesting $415,000, an increase. Again, if you go to the sheet that I provided you from IMG, that is an increase as well. And then I would request the drug testing be lowered to $500 and move the $500 to official bonds. So to make that $6,500. The RDC has to be bonded, the members of that board. And so again, that will be increased cost there, and I think that's reasonable. Are there any questions on that page?
The econometry or whatever,
Yeah, I skipped over photometry.
is that part of the assessor's budget also?
So if you look, last year, we received a bill, nobody paid it. And so we're gonna be hit twice this year, I believe, with the 31,000.
It looks like it.
We already have been, yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know why it did not get paid. But again, that's another 31 out of our budget that wasn't, we call those seniors in our office.
Yes, we do.
When you don't know it's coming, but it comes.
And then central dispatch.
And so the central dispatch portion, due to Mr. Hicks's request in his budget, the commissioner's budget pays anything above the portion that, each Gas City, Marion, Grant County funds central dispatch. This comes from the commissioner's budget. And so due to his increased request, we increased our request. And so that's one of those things that could change depending on the actions you take on his budget.
And I guess I'll give you this thought on that. We'll deal with that fund here in a little bit after we get done with the commissioners tonight. Say, this is one we'll leave blank for now. We won't approve that at this point until we finalize salaries, really, because that's going to be the key as to whether or not, how much we need out of this line.
Okay.
Because we'll talk about central dispatch in just a little bit, and you'll see that more clearly at that time. Okay? I'd say we forget this line as far as approval right now. We know the 511 is going to happen. We don't know about what above that's going to be made.
Any other questions on that page? We'll go to the next page. We did request a slight increase in the Memorial Day to $2,500. That fund is used to pay for flags. The cost of flags had went up. And so we increased it a little bit. And then we did zero out the animal shelter. And then we did zero out, I skipped over to the disaster fund. I mean, I don't know if you know, the disaster fund.
It's a $250,000 max, and we've already met that max, so there's no more contributions needed at this time.
Yeah, we created that years ago. And so there's no other contributions needed. We did zero it out. And then the other items in capital outlay, we remain the same. I'll entertain any questions or comments.
What's that disaster fund? What was it designed to be used for?
There is
What can it be used for? Yes, if there's 100, how much is in it?
250,000. There was, at the time, we passed a resolution when I was on the council. It kind of.
The commissioners asked for it at one point.
They gave the guidelines. I'd have to go back and pull them up to see what,
Yeah, the commissioners asked for it, and we didn't do it for a while as a council. We kind of held off and didn't do it right away. Eventually, they did decide to do it, I think.
So something put in place and never used.
I mean, I think
we haven't had the disaster yet. So.
Like for a COVID or whatever pandemic.
Okay.
Angie's got it pulled up.
It could be used for various, there's really no.
Well, I know that it couldn't be used when the tornadoes came through Swayze. We could not utilize it for that.
So that disaster didn't qualify.
Right. Right, exactly.
I'm just trying to figure out what the purpose of it is. If you can't use it for disaster, then maybe we should rename it.
Does the ordinance actually specify what it is?
You could always transfer the funds out of it and use them from another fund.
That's what my question is.
Or is it for a disaster related to like our facilities?
I think it's a rainy day.
We have one of those. It's kind of like, maybe it's kind of like. We'll let Mr. Kitch read it if you want.
If you guys.
$1,000. Well, it was done in 2020.
Yeah, 2020.
Yeah, the Board of Commissioners of Grant County hereby elect to implement a special non-reverting fund entitled the Disaster Response Fund to reserve funds solely for the purpose of providing a, quote, disaster deductible in case of an emergency that may be used to secure state and/or federal matching funds in the event of an emergency. So that.
So apparently that Swayze deal didn't qualify for state funds, and so we didn't need to use it.
I believe Bobby Jackson looked into that, and it just did not qualify because they wanted to rent dumpsters and it wasn't covered, remember?
Yeah, we had to pay for the dumpsters. We could always amend that as commissioners, to whatever language we would entertain.
You think if we would have had to pay for them, as a county paid for the dumpsters, we could have used that fund to pay for them if we wanted to.
Yeah, maybe we need to add some language on there for local something.
Sounds like the hangup is the matching funds. The state would have to declare the disaster. And then if they would provide funding, they would require matching funds on our part.
I mean, you take that language out.
And that would take that out. You need to take that language out.
You can dictate how we use it.
Yeah, that way then, because if there's a tornado or something like that, I mean, it'd be fantastic to set dumpsters over there. That way, people wouldn't have such a mess.
So we would have to tell them no, because the state says no.
Right, yeah. So that might be, something to change, yeah. Thank you for printing that off so quickly. Yeah.
Well, now I'm out of paper, so.
Oh, now you're out of here.
I've got a question, remodeling and repair. Can you tell me about the history of that account? Was it actually zero expenditure in '23? That's what it's showing. I know you guys have made headway, and I'm just looking at, is that a reasonable amount going forward, or are you guys on top of things? You see a reduction in 26, 27, or in 27?
You're talking about the repair building and structure?
Yeah, under capital outlay.
Capital outlay, remodel, repair.
Well, no, it wasn't zero in 23, was it? There just wasn't nothing there.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Was there nothing,
That's not been an
no
account.
budget or no account?
Looks like
or-
it wasn't there, 23.
I think they used the CCD fund for that.
That's kind of what I was getting at.
They did
What-
in the past, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't speak to what's happened in the past with that fund.
Okay, but going forward, are you guys kind of ahead of that curve now, or do you can see continued capital outlays and those
Yeah, no,
amounts?
I see continued capital outlays at this point. I think we're probably another, with the chiller at the detention center, some exterior issues on this building. I think that in the future, we still have quite a bit of capital outlays.
Interior, Salem Bank even,
Yeah.
maybe, I don't know.
And there's a whole list of things that need addressed. It's we're just playing catch up. I know Commissioner Point, I talked at one point, it's probably gonna take at least another 900,000 just to get us comfortable as.
But you don't have that in the budget, though.
No, we'd have to come back for additional appropriations.
Okay.
You'd love to see that now instead of additional,
Yeah.
If we knew more now, it'd be nicer than having to wait till
Yeah.
26 to get it fixed.
Well, what's the difference between repair and remodeling? Repair building and structure and remodeling and repair.
Small ticket versus large ticket.
Well, you got
Capital.
$850,000 additional appropriation for one.
And I'm
That was
thinking,
a fire loss.
that was for the fire loss. That was the insurance money.
Yeah, we come back and ask the council for additional appropriation of the 850. We did bid out the EMS building, the bids come back too high, and so we're gonna rebid it out next month.
That's that.
Yeah, if it's your will for me to add more money in as far as repair building and structure, we could.
Well, there's issues with the buildings that need to be addressed.
I'm gonna say, if we was gonna ask, it'd be $800,000 or $900,000. And that would be for, exterior of this building, chiller and D-home, Salem Bank. We know the Point Tuck at the bank, as well. And there's a whole list of things.
I think too would be helpful, if you add that and put it in the budget, then, like for remodeling and repair, if, in 25 was adopted at 100,000, all of a sudden if we end up with it at 900 or $1 million, give us a separate sheet too that breaks out exactly why you have those numbers in there and in the ballpark, because you're talking, about the chiller or this building or the Salem Bank building. And so
Well, like 911, the bid on that with the power wash and tuck one was 200,000. We're gonna get it done for 25.
Wow.
Yeah, I think it's a good point. If there are some things that we as a council are gonna seriously agree and wanna fund that, if they would come to us as a request.
Right.
We don't wanna do budgeting now
Right.
that obligates dollars that we wouldn't do in that manner, and we would do it in this manner instead.
Right.
So I guess the point is you don't want to wait for a big additional appropriation in '26 if they can give us something before we complete this process.
I would agree. I would agree that we,
So you want me to go back and between now and the end of the budget cycle, like make a list of, hey, this is the items we know we're gonna have to address? I mean, obviously, I didn't wanna come into the budget session and raise a bunch of our items.
Well, I think a priority is important. I also think if you could spell out the 1 year, 3 year, 5 year plan, you don't have to include dollar amounts because you're not gonna know, but at least it'll be a vehicle that drives that maintenance and that repair. We've had buildings neglected for years. I mean, I am perfectly fine with allocating additional funds to take care of our buildings. I think just getting an idea of the direction we're going, I think would be important.
if it's real for 2026, that you're gonna ask for those dollars, and those are more like necessities that we need to take care of.
Right. I would suggest we hold off on those two accounts again until we hear from them about 26 in a more concrete manner.
And so you're talking the repair, building and structure account under other services, as well as the capital outlays, remodeling and repair?
Right. I would say both those accounts are important for us to have a clearer picture about what they're really gonna need in '26.
Right. I would
For us to
agree.
consider.
I would agree.
We're keeping a lot in-house because of the maintenance.
That's great. I mean, but if there's gonna be something, whatever the cost is, we're gonna have to be willing to consider. We ought to know that before we finalize this budget. And
Yeah,
I mean,
you're
I
still
don't know
gonna
if we
have,
can put something together, but I'd love to see something. I'd really love to see before next Thursday.
because you're still gonna have materials. I mean, you still got materials to buy and things like that, so.
It's still cheaper, guys. Last bid we got to finish 911 was 4 million.
Yeah, I think the money they're saving, the county, is something we're not even aware of. And so this additional probably is peanuts compared to what we would have spent, maybe the previous administration would have spent. You know,
But it's important for us to know as much as we can going in. Again, we don't want to be hit with a $500,000 additional appropriation
Right.
next year.
Exactly.
If we can know that now.
it's much better to put it in now, I think.
Right.
Okay. No, I can work on that this week.
That'd be great.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I was gonna ask you this animal shelter. You're eliminating that. What kind of impact is that elimination gonna have?
So when we was on the council, we, ARPA dollars that we allocated to the city of Marion, we signed a 10-year deal with the city of Marion that they would take over our animal shelters.
So our support eliminated us to give
For
some.
10 years.
Okay.
We will not have any costs related to
Gotcha.
animal shelter.
Okay.
Which began in 2024 then?
25 this year.
This year.
Oh, just began
This
this
is
year?
year one.
25 through 34, those are the 10 years. We don't have to worry about that. We did give a little bit in 25 already, 2250 it shows that we spent, so we gave some.
From last year
Oh,
carryover.
Okay, that's last year's. Okay.
Good question.
Yep.
Well, how's this motion?
Well, I think what it's gonna be is, yeah.
So how's this motion gonna look? Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of blanks, and
It'll be all right.
3 blanks.
I think, well, I thought that was just gonna be the two blanks for repair, building and
Well,
structure.
3, there's the
Central dispatch.
central dispatch.
Oh,
also.
yeah, and central dispatch.
Yeah, at this point, let's leave it blank. We know it'd be 511,000 at least. We don't know about the excess.
I got.
So we just do that.
You got this one?
I got this.
Okay.
You ready?
Yes, I'm ready, Mr. Scott.
Mr. President, make a motion regarding Commissioner's budget, supplies as advertised, as presented. Other services and charges, category 3, as presented, with the following exceptions. Removing the central dispatch county portion for the time being. Official bonds increasing to $6,500. Removing repair, building, and structure for the time being. Drug testing reduced from $1,000 to $500. Category 4, as presented with the following change. removing remodeling and repair for the time being.
I'm very impressed. I second that.
All right, very good. Thank you, Mr. Lemon.
We're just gonna take your word.
Let's get a revised total for category 3. Let me do that real quick.
All right.
You come up with 2,665,000.
And 500 back.
We took it out though too.
I've never found your calculator to be wrong, so.
We had 60, we had 500 to the.
Oh,
bonds
I
and
got
took-
you. Yeah, 500 out.
So it's basically just the cost of central dispatch coming out.
Did you do that, Angie?
I did not.
Let me do it one more time, make sure I agree with that same number. I took the 4,040,496 and take away 975,496. Take away 400,000. That should be 2,665,000. Okay?
Is that right? I had 2,565,000. Did you get did you get the 665 twice?
I got it twice, but.
Oh, that's right. You're right. It's 260. Yeah, because I took the 100 out and it's wrong category. Yep.
Okay.
So 2,665,000 for the total
All right.
for that. And so then the capital outlays is just the equivalent of 25,000.
Right.
Yep. So yes, very good notes, Mr. Scott. And Mr. Lemming seconded that motion. Do we have any questions or further discussion on that? Anything from the public on that? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
We'll move on to the Drainage Board. Commissioner Pauling serves on that board for the commissioners. Looks like their request is neutral. If you go to the salaries request, there is a slight increase for the secretary, as well as, it looks like $60 per meeting is what's being requested.
We're talking 15% and 20%, not slight.
I'll get it back. Basically, that's why we'll take whatever you give us, but the Drainage Board, I figure $60 ain't too bad, gas goes up.
Is that all their pay is by the meeting?
Yeah,
So if they don't show up, they don't get paid.
right.
Are there any questions regarding the 2 and 3 account, categories 2 and 3?
I'll make a motion to approve categories 2 and 3 as presented.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Brinkle. Made a motion to approve categories 2 and 3 as presented on the General Fund Drainage Board. All right, second by Mr. Cadeau. Any other further discussion on that? Anything from the public? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
Could we jump to the general fund, grounds and buildings, some of the questions are
The next section
I'll go ahead and speak on
is
that.
after IT.
Yep.
Again, I believe we requested a 15% raise, obviously, whatever you gentlemen like to hand out is fine with us. I'm not expecting anything. Do you have any questions regarding the salaries? This is a newly created fund for 25. Was for this year.
So is the repair of equipment being moved from a line item in the commissioner's budget and then
So if
transferred
you-
here, or is it an addition?
If you go to the jail maintenance fund, we're gonna eliminate the jail maintenance fund and transfer it into that buildings and grounds fund.
Which in 25, yeah, we did the same thing in 25. Looks like nothing happened in jail maintenance at that point.
Right.
Okay.
Is there any questions regarding category 3 in the buildings and grounds? Like I said, I referred to the jail maintenance fund. This should be the last year, and we'll see that in the budget book. As commissioners, we're gonna eliminate the jail maintenance fund, move it to buildings and grounds. I don't believe you have to take any action on the jail maintenance fund, but you would on buildings and grounds.
Yep, we'll entertain a motion regarding that for the other services charges in category 3.
So approved.
All right, Mr. Scott has made a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All right, second by Mr. McWhorter. Questions or discussion from the council? Anything from the public? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
And then we'll move on to another commissioner fund, the CCD fund, 138. We requested the same amounts as the previous year. And we did give the option for flexibility to the council if you want to increase the rate or not to have a payment for a jail project.
Oh, yeah, in this fund?
Yes. Are there any questions regarding the CCD?
I would add this, I guess, to our thought process. If we decide to keep the budget at this level and you don't need an additional amount in 2026, we don't have to increase the rate. We will need an increased levy to accommodate that. If we have additional needs above what's shown here in this budget as a presentation, then we would need to consider bumping up, that CCD fund rate. It's been advertised to go the high rate if we choose to. In my planning, I was assuming we wouldn't, but it's there if we choose to. So we have to make a decision at some point before we end this process, and tonight could be the case. Whether we'll keep it at the level that it has been, as being requested now, or if we want to do something higher with that.
Because basically, if you approve it here, then it's going to be at this level.
Yeah, but I guess you could still approve this budget small, and you could still do the higher tax rate and the higher levy and just be cash unappropriated at that point.
Okay.
Okay, so that's something you need to be aware of as we go through this, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the actual balance is in this fund or what the estimated.
We have it on our 4B account, or page back here somewhere.
The only thing that I could project for CCD in the future would be at some point we will have to buy more ambulances. Typically the CCD covered those payments.
Well, part of the discussion we had too about the potential increase would be if we wanted to have that fund available to help with a bond payment on a new jail facility. That was part of that conversation as well. Right. And I didn't really like doing that if we could handle it outside of that. Right. Increase in levy, obviously it's not going to be huge, but it would increase your loss exposure for cap losses, those kind of things too. So if we can avoid raising it, that's what I wanted us to do, but it's up for, decision of this body to yes or no that. Right now, the Form 4B for that fund, using a levy that we currently have, and I'm gonna guess in the $551,000 range at the current rate, 0175, we would have an operating balance of $33,855 in that fund. If all the budget was used that's being presented tonight, the $430,000, I think that's what you asked, isn't it? Yeah, $430,000. If 2025 uses all of its budget, and we use all the budget that's asked in 26 and get the levy that we expect, we'd have an operating balance of $33,855 at the end of 26. Okay, so bottom line is, I guess what I'm telling you is the current levy, current rate that we're expecting and that we've done in the past would fund this budget with a little bit of an operating balance. Mm-hmm. Okay. Is that, any questions? Understand that? Okay.
Knowing that we could do that later if we wanted to do that rate increase
Still could, we have to actually make that final decision not till the October 15th
Right.
adoption date if we choose that.
So I guess at this point, we could still approve this CCD fund for supplies category 2 as well as capital outlays category 4 for tonight, if anybody wants to make that motion to do so.
Just maybe clarification, sheriff vehicles, it's 150,000. Equipment, okay. And at this point, from the commissioner's viewpoint, you aren't asking for us to bump it higher. You're satisfied with this budget, okay? On that basis, I'll move that we accept this budget as presented.
All right, thank you, Mr. McWhorter. Do we have a second? Second. Mr. Scott? Any questions or further discussion from the council?
So it'd be, what, 10,000 supplies and 420,000 capital outlays?
Yes. Anything from the public on that? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
And then I know the health insurance fund, the 5,200, we did prepare a worksheet from Gregory Lee Appel on the estimates. And I know, did you receive them?
I'm not sure if I actually saw it or not. I've kind of gone through the funds and done my kind of analysis with it. I've got some feedback from insurance on what I had. I know Angie and I looked at that as we've gone through and prepared for the budget process. If there's something you want to add, after I say some things, go ahead.
Okay.
Every month we get a history sheet that shows what our fund status is as far as transactions and cash balance goes, so you guys always see that. In looking through the disbursement history, I'm going to say that we could keep our fund contribution per employee as it currently is, and that is $17,500 per employee for health insurance. I thought about maybe let's bump it up a little bit just to, since all of a sudden a big increase at some point, but we don't need to at this point, I think. I was thinking we'd go to $17,750, $250 increase, but that's only like a 1%. I think I did that math somewhere. It's like a 1% increase. So my thought is we don't need to do that at this point. So keeping it at 17.5 is okay. And the budget request of $7,300,000, I think that's reasonable based on what our expenses have been over the last couple of years. That seems to be a reasonable amount. It should be less than that when it's all said and done, but it's a good number to use for a budget, I think. And it's the same as it was in 2025. It's not an increase. With that, also, I'm thinking because of the extra local income tax money we're going to get into the CETA fund, I would suggest that we, and we'll get to that fund later, but as far as funding the health insurance fund, we'll increase what the CETA fund will contribute by $100,000. We've been giving $1,786,000 out of that fund. I'm going to suggest we use $1,886,000 out of the CETA fund to go to the health insurance fund over the year to help fund this fund. Okay, so that's an increase of $100,000. And the revenue in total that we budgeted for this fund in 2025 was $6 million. I'm going to suggest we make that $6,200,000 in 2026, which would be the extra $100,000 comes from the CETA fund, and the other $100,000 would come from our general fund as we plan where that money is coming from where the various employees are. Angie kind of works up a worksheet that shows that, and I've got a rough number now, a rough one, but bottom line is most of it comes from the general, but some of the other miscellaneous funds contribute to that as well. The total we would see coming into the fund would be $6.2 million in 2026. Now, that could be plus or minus a little bit based on new employee coming from needing insurance and didn't use it before, that kind of thing, but it'd be in that range, $6 million too. So bottom line is, I guess, just looking at the math, I guess in a quick analysis, at June 30, we had $7 million in the fund, just a little over $7 million. We expect to get another $2.8 million between July 1 and end of the year. And if we spent all of our expected budget, it'd be $4 million, which would leave us $5.8 million at December 31st of 25. It'd be $5.8 million. if you put in there the 6.2 million in 26, and if you spent the whole 7.3 million that we budget in 26, which I wouldn't think we would, but if we did, you'd still have 4.7 million in the fund at the end of 26. So you never want to get that fund too low, obviously, because you want to have money on hand in case something catastrophic in your employee base happens. It takes a lot of money, but that should keep us safe because we do have stop loss. Any individual claim that's above $200,000, we get reimbursed from a stop loss insurance. And I don't think the insurance company expects us, based on our history, to spend more than $6 million in claims in any 1 year based on our history. So we have other claims as far as vision and dental and some other things that add up to more than 6 million, plus our stop loss insurance coverages and all. So the 7.3 million would accommodate some of that. But bottom line is, I think if we keep things pretty much status quo as they are as far as contributions per employee and keeping the budget the same and increasing our revenue stream by $200,000, we'd be, in my opinion, really good shape at this point at the end of 26. So that's what I would suggest we do. If you have any other thoughts or comments.
I just know that with the estimates I've seen that I think we're right on track. I think this budget will accommodate.
We look good at this point. We've been pretty successful the last several years now. We've done well on that fund. Obviously, healthy employees help. You want that to be the case.
If we're gonna see a premium increase, when does that only happen? Is that a calendar year thing?
Well, see, the premium would be our stop loss coverage and the aggregate. There's an overall aggregate loss coverage that they would charge you to, and I'm not sure when do they actually charge that premium. Do you know? We pay it monthly, I think, don't we? Do we pay that premium every month?
Yes. Yeah, as far as the employee, you're talking about the employee or about
The county share.
Okay.
The county share will be, you feel like we're safe for 26 with this?
Yes. Yeah, the numbers I've seen is in that 5.5 million as far as expenses. So I think we're averaging fairly on track.
It looks like stop loss is costing us about, I'm going to say 760,000. That was in 24. So 25, maybe a little more than that. Maybe close to $800,000.
I know the stop losses for the first 6 months, or for the last 3 or 4 months, we went back and renegotiated.
Yeah, through May, we paid 305,000 almost, 306,000 almost. I think.
Yeah, I see that.
So, of the 7.3 million, let's say 6 million in claims and 800,000 in insurance costs. I mean, that's just a quick number, kind of thing. So, and that leaves some variance in there for miscellaneous things to happen. And some of the revenue we come in, if we have somebody go above the stop loss, we'll see some miscellaneous revenue come in for that purpose too. We can use a little bit of that money in our total for 6.2 million, but not a lot. We do put some in there for that. But I feel good about the number.
Yeah, I feel good about it as well.
So I guess my thought would be, as we make the motion, I would think we could approve the budget at 7.3 million for this fund and approve with that comment that we keep the per employee contribution by the employer at 17.5 for the health insurance. And it's how much for the life? $230? $230 for the life. So it's 17.5 for health, 230 for life insurance. And we would also then agree that the revenue stream of $6,200,000 would be our goal, and Angie would get us the schedule that shows how that fund breakdown is when it's all said and done. Yeah, I guess I'll make the motion we do that.
Sounds good. Second. Second by Mr. Scott. Any questions or further discussion regarding the health insurance fund? Anything from the public? Hearing nothing, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And those opposed, same sign. Thank you, motion carries.
I believe that's all I have. I will want to mention one thing. We're working toward a joint executive session next Wednesday at 5 o'clock. And this with both bodies.
Council and commissioners.
Council and commissioners. So be looking forward to that next week. Obviously, we have to advertise and make sure that we have the legal ad correct. But that's something that I just want to make you aware of. Go ahead and put on your schedule.
Next Wednesday at 5, is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we need to official motion for the jail maintenance? Since that's going to zero.
Probably
That's what I wondered.
That's the one it's no longer gonna be in there, so I'd say we don't need to, just, it won't be there because we won't act on it. If we wanted to, you could, they wouldn't need to, I don't think. If we don't act on it, it just doesn't happen. So it just wouldn't be there.
Yeah. All right, next item on the agenda is E911 and Central.
IT, we go back to IT.
Oh, IT,
We
my
already
fault.
skipped IT.
You're right, we did skip
I
it.
would have win, I mean, I would have lost.
Yeah.
Remember your last.
We had to clean up.
You gotta save the best for last, though.
You don't have to make it.
Next time, you probably want to go before the commissioners, huh?
Like I told Andy, I was just thankful it wasn't my wife's birthday today.
No.
Last year? Was it?
Well, good evening, gentlemen. Like I said, I know we're not talking about anything under the personnel services. The only thing I'll make a comment on is we requested a 15% as well, same as the commissioners. I will also add that for my overtime, I kind of goofed on that one. I was going to put the same as last year, the $4,252.
You dropped it.
Yeah, and I dropped it $96. It's not life or death, so it's not anything too critical, but I just wanted to make a note of that. But that's no biggie. I don't know if you gentlemen just want me to kind of read through some of the changes I have, because I have some modifications and stuff that doesn't reflect the sheet exactly. So if you just want me to start from the top and work my way down, and sure, we can regroup from there. All right. So for my contractual services, I requested $210,000, and when I did that, when I came up with that number, it was also to have a $5,000 buffer in there. And I went back and I recalculated everything, and I took out some services that we didn't need, and I also had software that was supposed to come out of security software that was also in there. That kind of bumped that up a little bit too high than what it should. So for my contractual services, I am requesting $200,000, and this would give me a rough $5,000 buffer. So for my contractual services item, we are expecting $195,587.80. So roughly $196,000 is what we're expecting to spend out of contractual services. And the reason for the increases to that is I didn't have the right amount this year for the phone system for that, because initially I put 4,500 when it should have been 55 or 56, I believe. And I also included the court's Zoom software as well, to get that put on there as well for next year. So for travel and conference, I left it the same at 500. Training and education, I left it the same at 3,000. For security software, I am requesting lowering this. So we are actually going to eliminate some software from that to where we can use the 20,000 instead of the 30,000 that I had before. So we're going to reduce that amount down. Then for the next item, I have a slight increase for FTR maintenance, and this increase is, I believe it's $5,500 for the court's FTR maintenance, and this is just to accommodate the software as a service bill, because FTR, that's the model they went to now. So basically our support and the software updates are all bundled in the annual fee for $12,900 annually. So I left a little extra in there for that. Then for GIS software, I left it the same at 37,000. And
pretty much it for that, the other services and charges section. I don't know, do you gentlemen want me to go down to the equipment item as well, or?
Sure.
Okay. Yep, so for equipment, initially I put down 235,000, so that was what we put down for this year's. So after reviewing it, since we got the lease for the new computers and stuff, a big portion of our budget has always went to new computers, so we would always try to upgrade a couple offices at a time and, you know, get them updated. But now that we're gonna have everybody all updated on new hardware, I believe we can reduce the equipment budget down now to 212,000. So after, we have two big expenditures that come out of that every year for the leases. So one of them's for our data center, which is roughly 72,000. And then we have another one, which is for the computers, and that's roughly 110. So both of those combined is 182,000. So that roughly leaves us with about 30,000 for various equipment items such as cables, adapters, and, you know, maybe keyboards and things like that throughout the year. So.
Yes. Let me ask this, do any of the accounts here, does that take into account some of the savings that you were talking and showing us in our last meeting when we talked about some of the things you did?
So a lot of the savings that I did, those were, it primarily helps the commissioner's budget. So with a lot of those, it was like, eliminating the fax lines, because now that is, instead of that being a, monthly $2,000 bill, now it's a $99 bill.
So it's not on these accounts, it's in the commissioner's?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
Correct. And the other piece was for the central dispatch phone system, which we will eliminate the second internet circuit that we have here at this building. And that will save roughly, I think it was $2,400 or $2,500 a month.
That's not out of yours as well?
Correct, yes. Those all come out of the commissioner's line items. So there was just several projects that were kind of bled over from the phone system, with the fax lines and things like that. So next year, we shouldn't really have any projects. It should just be maintaining what we got and staying the course, and hopefully I'm not paying you guys any visits for any additionals and stuff. So nope, that's the gist of my my changes. So if you gentlemen have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them.
All right. Just kind of sum it up, the other services and charges, then the total requests in that category 3 is 274,000. And then the capital outlays, the equipment category 4 is $212,000 is the total. The chair would entertain a motion regarding those.
Mr. President, regarding the IT department budget, category 3, move to approve as presented with the following change: reducing contractual services to $200,000. Category 4, move to approve at $212,000 level.
All right. Second. All right. Thank you, Mr. Scott. Thank you, Mr. Fleming. Any questions or comments from the council? Anything from the public? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
All right, well, thanks again, gentlemen. Have a good evening.
You too. Now we got to the 911.
Last but not least.
Say the last for best. Best for last.
All right. Thank you for your time this evening. I know we're not discussing any personal matters, but I do want to bring some things to your attention. First of all, I did ask for a 5% increase for all of my staff across the board. The 1222 fund, that pays for my salary and my deputy director's salary. The rest of my staff salaries come out of the 4922 fund, which is the consortium fund, the interlocal fund that's contributed to by the city of Marion, Gas City, Jonesboro, and the commissioners. I would ask that 2 more positions be created for dispatchers. That would give us a total of 20 staff members in our department. It's my goal to put 5 dispatchers on the floor at all times, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Our current minimum staffing is 3. If we do get that extra person, I would then raise that to 4. That way there's no less than 4 people on the dispatch floor at all times.
We still have 3 vacancies?
I have 2 vacancies right now.
So we filled 1.
I filled 1. And we are actively interviewing just about weekly, trying to get the ideal candidates. Our job is a lot like the sheriff's department and the police department. Not just everybody can do it. It takes a special person who can be in the basement for 12 hours straight and answer the unknowns for 12 hours straight.
Kevin, you mentioned, and obviously we're going to deal with this later, but you mentioned you made it 5% across the board.
Yes.
On the sheet I have, it was, some positions were left 12.5% and some were 4.6%. So I'm not sure how to 5.
My request would be for 5% across the board. That's my salary, my deputy salary, my center training officers would be 5%, and my dispatcher would be 5%.
Okay, so it must be different than the schedule we have, Andy.
It's possible I miscalculated, but that is my request, 5% across the board. And obviously, you guys in the past have always just said, it's a blanket, this is what you're getting, and we're thrilled with that. I would also request that longevity be increased this year. It was not increased last year.
Would that extra, excuse me, that extra position, should that reduce over time, or are you just calculating time based on having an additional person?
So it evens the workload better. It creates less stress in the dispatch center. It helps with mental health in the dispatch center. It makes our operation more efficient. You've got more people doing less tasks. So it just gives an extra cushion for when things go crazy. You've got the extra help down there. We can go from absolutely nothing to a 10-car pileup on the interstate at any one time, and you know we've got sometimes 3 dispatchers down there trying to answer 30 phone calls, plus dispatcher, police, fire, and ambulance.
You can't predict schedules necessarily, or reduce overtime because you don't know what's coming at you that day. Is that what I'm saying?
So historically speaking, if we have 3 dispatchers on, that's our minimum staff. We can't go below that. If somebody calls off sick, historically speaking, with the staff numbers that we have, I myself and my deputy have been covering those call-offs. She takes the day shift call-offs and I do the night shift call-offs. I'm exempt, so I don't get overtime. So whatever my salary, that's it. I have tried to be very conscious of my employees' work-home life balance. We have really tried to limit the amount of mandates that we have done for them and have taken that upon ourselves. Vacation times, you know, when the employees put in for vacation, again, we have to have 3 in there. So if there's 3 on the shift, somebody's got to cover that. So, you know, we throw those out for coverage. And if anybody doesn't cover those, then myself or my deputy step up and take them, because my employees have earned their vacation time and they should be able to take their vacation time.
No.
And I think, you know, just having the 5th person down there on all 4 shifts, because we work 4/12 or we work 3/12s. So we have 2 on days, 2 shifts on days, 2 shifts on nights. And then they alternate 3 on, 3 off. So we give us 5 dispatchers on each shift, and that would allow for 1 dispatcher to be off on vacation or personal time at a time. And then if we have a call up, then we would cover it so that we maintain our minimum of 4.
Angie, is it, there's a fairly large increase in overtime for the 1222 fund. But then there's also a request to increase overtime in the 4922. At least on paper for the number of employees, it seems like it's a fairly high amount for overtime pay.
I also have 6 part-time employees who come out of my overtime budget.
That comes out of overtime as well. Okay.
I don't have a part-time account, so they come strictly out of my overtime.
Gotcha.
Mr. Hicks, do you run like an A, B, C, D type of schedule? Is that what that sounds like?
So, yeah, so we have, our shifts are 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. and then 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. And we work 3 days on, 3 days off.
You get 2 weekends a month, theoretically.
Theoretically. So if the way our schedule falls and with the way payroll is, if you're scheduled off on Monday, if you don't work on Monday, that's a 36-hour week. We do give our staff the option to come in and work 4 extra hours so they get their 40. If they work Monday, they are scheduled for 48. So they get 8 hours overtime 3 weeks in a row. Now, our new employees, because of the way the handbook is currently, they don't get any vacation for the first calendar year of their employment. So if they start today, they don't get any vacation until 1 year from today. The county allows us to comp up to 100 hours of time. So they can comp their 8 hours of overtime, and that becomes 12 hours of straight pay or 1 day off. So that's how they get their days off.
So with your schedule being the way it is, and you're saying you need 4 to 5 dispatchers on every schedule, theoretically, that's somewhere between 16 and 20 people you need to have. Correct?
So what I'm asking for is 16 dispatchers, and I've already had 4 center training officers who are actually working dispatchers. So that gives me my 20.
Which would do your A, B, C, D schedule.
Correct.
And you have part-time to fill in.
Correct.
Oh, we're not, I'll wait on the 4922 question since we're not there yet.
Yeah, we're 1222.
Yeah.
Just kind of want to give you some thoughts also on that fund. Your schedule and your package has a 4B form for this fund, E911. Just want to go through the mathematical equation a little bit. But right now, at June 30, the cash balance in the fund was $64,395. Projected receipts between July 1 end of the year, $314,108. And if we spent all the budget, it'd be $306,376 in disbursements to get a projected cash balance into 25 of just over $72,000. Okay, 72. We project receipts in the fund, $530,000. Most of that comes from state source, right?
All of the 22 is
$530,000. And the budget that he's asking for on this one, including the raises and everything, would be $590,552, which would give a projected cash balance at December 31 of 26 of $11,575. It'd be really a small cash balance at December 31 of 26. In addition to that, if you'll look, there's a schedule here also at the end of this section called General Fund Communications. Those are accounts and expenses that we moved out of E911 fund last year, put it into the general fund because E911 fund couldn't afford it. And that is in 2025, it was $267,000. You see that schedule? You have that right? Okay. In 2026, requested amount is $292,000. So just letting you know, general fund's already subsidizing E911 fund $267,000, $292,000, depending on what we do with that budget, in addition to what is in the fund. So adding staff, adding raises, all those kind of things, I mean, it's something you got to think about. That fund right now is not paying for itself anyway. The general fund is subsidized. Not saying that's wrong or right, but when we started out with the fund, 18 employees was the number. Now we're looking to maybe go 20 if we give the request. And we're already spending a lot more than what that fund brings in. So just letting you know, general fund is subsidizing that already. And that, this fund, we'll talk about Fund 4922 in a minute, but this fund handles just him and his deputy, his the assistant, those two employees, and then the other contractual expenses and equipment and whatever goes into that is shown here. 4922 we'll get to later is all the dispatching staff other than he and his assistant, okay? So we have some personnel things to think about there, I guess is my point. I mean, it's.
And Mr. Hicks, to Mr. McWhirter's point, we've never been fully staffed.
We have not, no.
So the cash is better than it would be if it'd been fully staffed.
Correct, that's my point, yeah. So we may not be as bad a shape theoretically because we can't seem to be fully staffed.
As I said before, we are interviewing
Yeah,
almost
we're trying to
weekly.
get there, I get it.
We had one just complete training. We had one who just started training. So I have 3 training officers who are currently available to train. So if I can hire, I will. Obviously, you know, I don't have the hiring freeze. You guys exempted me from that. I'm grateful for. But I am aggressively working to hire those 2 dispatchers that I'm currently budgeted for.
So are we still in 1222?
Yes.
There's very few changes basically, right, in the supplies, other services and charges, and as I see it.
So the communication equipment lease principal, the telephone, the communication equipment lease, those are contractual agreements that were entered into with AT&T for our 911 phone system. And I believe the other was, correct me if I'm wrong, but US Bank was who we leased the communication system.
Yeah, the tower and all the equipment on that tower, we had a large lease that we, in our financing of that lease, we were expecting E91 fund to pay, I think it's roughly $158,000 a year out of their budget. And the difference comes out of the general fund, the council's budget and the general fund. So if you look at the line item for lease principal and line item for lease interest, adding those together is $158,530, which is roughly what we expect this fund to pay toward that lease payment. I think the total lease payment's like $235,000 a year. So the difference comes out of the general fund. So in addition to the other money, we're also subsidizing it, out of the general fund for that much money as well. But that's how we initiated that when it started back a few years ago.
So we've not made any changes on this 1222 fund, right?
I'd say we left that the same.
Are we prepared to?
Actually, though, we did get this black and white version, which is that your updated?
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, there's the blue version is got the wrong total on it. It's the black and white version that has the correct number, 590,552.
Right.
590,552 is the correct total.
Okay.
So that lease number is lower on this.
Yes. So
But it adds up to, it should be about 158,000, let's see, that may be too low, Angie. 150,000, that's about 151,000. So we're actually lower, probably should use the other number. Because it was 158,000 was this fund's obligation, 158,000 is what we intended this fund to pay.
158,530?
Well, 158 is what it was, I was thinking, 530 may be fine, but.
Okay.
Whatever you want.
Yeah, we can use whichever number we want to use. If we use the 597, which is probably a better number when it comes to the lease payment requirement, it makes it 597,670 based on this number, and the operating balance will be about $4,456.
So we're going back to the original.
Going back to the blue one then.
I would say that's a better number. We can just change on the other sheet we have, but that's more accurate for what this fund has been expected to fund.
Okay, I'll just put an X on that one then. Okay. So I guess at this time then, the chair will entertain a motion regarding E911 fund, 1222 supplies, category 2, other services and charges, category 3, as well as the capital outlays, category 4.
So moved, Mr. President.
All right.
I'll second that.
Motion by Mr. Caudell and a second by Mr. Brankel to approve these items basically as presented. Any questions or further discussion? Anything from the public? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
Do we need to elaborate any more on the 4922, or are we ready to go to the general fund?
Now, let's, 4922, let's talk about that just a little bit too. It's all personnel related. It is. But I want to point out the mathematics of that fund before we go forward, just so you're aware of it. And again, you should have on that 4B schedule up in the front of your notebook, it'll be in there. Cash balance at June 30, $601,000 plus dollars. The money we expect to come in the last half of the year, $580,000. To spend all the budget that's left at the end of the last half of the year would give us a projected cash balance at December 31, 25 of just under $340,000, $339,850. Okay. Projected money coming in 2026, it's a combination of the money from Grant County, City of Jonesboro, City of Gas City, City of Marion. Those four combined, $1,157,500. Okay. So those receipts and the projected budget that he has on the fund right now is $1,621,996. If we approved all those and all those numbers came in as they're supposed to, we'd have a deficit at December 31st, 26 of $124,645. That'd be the deficit. So obviously that fund cannot afford what's being requested on its own.
Yes.
Okay.
When the interlocal agreement was created, there was no, they did not take into account for any raises for the staff over the course of the 10 years. So every year since we've been accepted, except for the first year, the county council has provided raises for my staff, and that has come out of the general fund. Marion Health, when the interlocal agreement was drawn up, they made a one-time contribution of $500,000 to the county to be used to purchase radio equipment that was put into dispatch. So the 6 workstations I have, those were purchased with the funds given to the county by Marion Health.
And I'll take us back to the commissioner's schedule, other services and charges in their budget, or there was that line, how much are we gonna put up in that budget account above the $511,000 that we're required to. This is the, whatever we decide, that's the dollars to go there in the general fund. Now, I will say this, Kevin, not quite right. In 2024, we actually did not have to spend more than what our $511,000 was. General fund did not have to contribute anything extra. We did do some extra in, well, actually, no, it looks like 23 we did not either. So I think we've been okay as far as that amount to this year, it looks like, based on the schedule. I think that's right. But depending on what we do with wages and positions and so forth on this fund, it will dictate how much we have to use out of the general fund to accommodate that.
So in 24, the county staff received a flat 10% across the board pay raise, which obviously comes out of this fund for my employees. And then last year, the county council blessed them with $5,000, just a flat across the board.
So, yeah, there was 5,000 and 25 approved. And apparently the fund could have afforded it at that point. Yeah.
Yeah.
This page here, you had 1.1, right?
1.1 what? Yeah, that's 1,157,500. That's the money that comes in.
And then you got a fund balance, right, of 600,000?
601,000. As of June 30th was our fund balance.
Well, those two added together is higher than that 2026.
Well, we're going to spend that the last half of the year's budget too.
So you're spending that out.
See, here's our cash balance. We're going to get more money in the last half of this year. And we're going to spend out, if we spend the budget, we're spending $841,000 more to get a projected cash balance at 12/31.
You did a little bit more projections. I'm like, that number's higher, so I wasn't.
Yeah, you gotta, if you look at the 4B, the mathematical equation of the budget is what's your cash balance at December 30th?
Mm-hmm.
What are you gonna get in receipts in the next 6 months? What are you gonna spend the next 6 months to get your end of the year cash balance? And then for the next full year, what's your receipts minus your disbursements to get an ending cash balance? That's what that incorporates.
You said 140 some thousand.
124,645 would be the negative at this point. So I guess if you look at it in terms of whatever Kevin's requesting at this point, you would have to look at the general fund contributing roughly $125,000 to make that happen. And you'd have a zero cash balance at the end of the year.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you. Thank you for clarifying that.
So Kevin, so now we're in 4922 for that overtime, part-time. Do you have a breakdown of how much of the budget is going to overtime and how much is going to part-time?
I can look for that, when we, send our payroll over, it just all comes out of that same account. If the council would be interested in separating those two accounts out for accounting purposes, we could probably do that.
I don't know that we need to. I'm curious to see how much we've paid out in overtime to all the central dispatch workers too, so.
The part-time, do they have any benefits?
They do not, and they are not allowed to average more than 28 hours a week. Because once they start getting close to that, then they're getting close to being federally classified as full-time, and then we have to give them benefits, so we hold them at 28 hours a week pretty religiously.
Just to add to our little thoughts here too, this 1,157,500, the contract we're getting, it was a 10-year contract, I believe.
Yes.
And we ended that contract, what year is it?
29.
29, so we've got that kind of time frame left that we'll have that revenue coming in. And at some point, like we've talked about before, we'll have to do something with our local income tax to accommodate when that contract ends, so.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no action tonight as far as that fund goes, it's all
Yeah.
personnel.
And then I guess I have the general fund communications, 911.
Category 3 for the general fund.
Yep.
Contractual services, $275,000. I have service agreements for all of our equipment that's in dispatch and on our towers. All of our equipment is out of warranty now. Yeah. We have the maintenance agreements for those. We are scheduled next year for some hardware refreshes. So that is covered in this contractual price. We are also rolling out push to talk for our first responders that went live Thursday. That enables our responders to use a device, cell phone, or an actual push-to-talk device that allows them to communicate directly with Grant County, no matter where they are in the world, so long as they have FirstNet, cell coverage, or Wi-Fi connection. So if the sheriff's office, is on a transport and they need to go to California, they can take this device with them and radio back and forth directly to us, or talk to whoever at the sheriff's office they need to. And I'm paying for the monthly service for one device, and then the backbone stuff. So I'm maintaining four radios that are attached to that. The hospital's maintaining one.
So the increase is basically service agreements, so it's necessary.
You're ready for a motion, I'll move to approve.
All right. Move to approve as presented. Thank you, Mr. McWhirter. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Brinkle. Any questions from the council? Any questions from the public? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you.
Recess?
Yep, I think we're going to recess.
We had longer tonight.
Yeah, a little bit longer.
some of those funds I've worked with, we had to make sure we cover that. Yeah, you're right. Oh, we didn't have the,
Another bad thing, you're required to have to be able
we didn't have that preliminary stuff.